Peace, you guys. Welcome to the Standard of Truth podcast, where we discuss all things social, cultural, political, and theological from a biblical perspective. I am your host, April Chapman. Welcome to the show. Did you guys know that in 2025, the Oscars, they aren't just about talent anymore? No, they're about making sure that the right diversity boxes are checked. Because apparently, merit is last season. Merit is last season. We're not doing that this season. Should Black actors be actually nominated, do you believe, just to fill a quota? Or should we actually care about talent? I want to talk about it, you guys. I did not realize that the Oscars were on TV the other night, and that's how irrelevant they are to me. However, Hollywood has done it again. But this time, the debate is over whether Black representation at the Academy Awards should be based on actual skill, or whether it's more important to make sure that every identity group gets a participation trophy. Now, before y'all get mad at me, let me first be clear, right? I love my people. I love my kinsmen according to the flesh. And I love seeing incredibly talented Black actors and actresses. I want them to get recognized. But y'all, I am not here for the tokenism. Okay, I'm not here for DEI driven nonsense that reduces artistry to identity quotas. And y'all, if you think about it, it's just embarrassing. Like, if you can act, you deserve a nomination. But if you can't, you should not be nominated just because the Academy needs to meet its racial quota for that year. I need somebody to make it make sense. So here is the context concerning Black representation at the Oscars. First of all, I want to show you this, but before I do it, let me do it like this. Let me take you down a quick little stroll down memory lane. Black actors, historically, they have been, if you're looking at the optics, okay, they have been underrepresented at the Oscars. Okay, that's just a fact. But it's not because of some grand conspiracy to keep Black folks out. It's because Hollywood, for decades, had fewer leading roles written for Black people, just like they haven't had an overwhelmingly high amount of roles written for Asian people or Hispanic people or Indian people, right? Black actors who have performed at a high level, they've been recognized. You have Hattie McDaniel, right? She won an Oscar. Denzel won an Oscar. Monique has an Oscar. Halle Berry, Sidney Poitier, Viola Davis. All of these people won because they deserved it, not because they lobbied for diversity quotas. But do y'all remember? Do y'all remember the hashtag Oscars so white when that started trending? That is when I believe the industry shifted from celebrating great acting to just obsessing over the optics. And ever since then, the Oscars, they have become more about identity politics than actual cinematic achievement. And that's honestly when people just quit watching. We just checked out. We was like, ain't nobody got time for this foolishness. This is stupid. So let's get into what's happening this year. The 2025 Oscar nominations, y'all, they came out. And of course, the usual suspects, they are out here crying that there aren't enough Black nominees. And I am told that there has been some incredible performances this year, some very well-deserved nominations. Now, I'm too busy. I got a lot going on. I ain't had time to catch a good movie in a minute. But instead of focusing on the actual talent, the conversation is about how many Black people, right? I don't know, for whatever reason, the argument of the day is that how many Black people got a nod, right? This is the source of contention. How many Black folks received a trophy? And so here's the issue, because apparently numbers matter more than quality. So I am going to show you guys directly from the Oscars website exactly what I mean. Let me go ahead and share my screen. So you see this, right? This is actually from Oscars.org, and they have a tab called Representation and Inclusion Standards. Look, I get it. Representation is great. Y'all, but forced representation, y'all, that's just insulting. That's not progress. That is pandering. Hollywood's new standard is diverse over deserving. And it's obvious that it shows. It shows in the quality of the content that we're getting. Hollywood is just pumping out trash right now. Look at the recent box office flops where they put identity first and storytelling second. Right? People aren't watching movies just to see a rainbow coalition of actors. Okay? People watch good stories, period. I'm tired of there being a gay person on every show or in every movie. Like, the storyline doesn't even call for it, but I'm tired of seeing an artificially contrived or forced insertion of a Black person when the role, it doesn't quite call for it. It's weird, it's forced, and I don't like it. And so the Academy, they have these new inclusion requirements. So the question is, did y'all know that to be considered for Best Picture, it has to meet diversity and inclusion quotas? Let's take a look. Industry access and opportunities. First of all, they have here that on-screen representation, themes, and narratives. A film can achieve this standard by meeting the criteria of at least one of the following: lead or significant supporting actors from underrepresented racial or ethnic groups. So that means at least one of the lead actors or significant supporting actors submitted for Oscar nomination or consideration, you have to be from an underrepresented racial or ethnic group. So this may include Black or African American or Caribbean descent, East Asian, like Chinese, Japanese, Korean, or Mongolian, Hispanic or Latin X. The heck is that? Indigenous peoples, including Native American, Middle Eastern, Northern Africa, Pacific Islander, South Asian, Southeast Asian. This is crazy. Then the general ensemble cast. At least 30% of all actors not submitted for Oscar consideration from at least two underrepresented groups, which may include women, racial or ethnic group, LGBTQ, and people with cognitive or physical disabilities who are deaf or hard of hearing. If you are a director, how the heck do you even craft the story to meet these guidelines? So basically, if you're a film director now, your creativity is stifled because when you are crafting your storyline, you're going to have to pull up the representation and inclusion standards and then build each character with this in mind. And don't let your percentages be off. You can forget Oscar nomination. You can forget it. Then the main storyline or subject matters. This is the third category. The main storyline, theme, or narrative of the film has to be centered on an underrepresented group: women, racial or ethnic group, LGBTQ, or people with cognitive disabilities and physical disabilities who are deaf or hard of hearing. So does that mean every movie gonna have to have a storyline about Helen Keller? Does every movie have to have a storyline about Ray Charles? I mean, he was Black and blind. I mean, where does this end? And then the standard creative leadership and project team. The creative leadership and project team. A film can achieve this standard by meeting the criteria in at least one of the following areas. So set design, hairstylist, makeup artistry, production designer, set decorator, sound. It's gotta, who's got time to go through all this? I don't know. I know I don't. But that means after examining all of this, what it sounds like to me is that even if a film is a masterpiece, it could get snubbed if the casting team didn't tick enough boxes. Like, what kind of madness is this? So my question is, what does all of this mean for the future of the Oscars? Well, it ain't like a whole bunch of people care, but if things continue this way, we can kiss credibility goodbye. Right? The Academy Awards, they are becoming a glorified affirmative action program. And guess what? That doesn't help Black actors at all. It actually hurts them. Thank goodness Denzel's like, I'm retiring because this is foolish. right? Black actors, even if a black actor genuinely earns an award, people are going to wonder if they actually deserved it, or if they were just filling a quota, or if there are too many black people in a particular category. That means someone is going to get sacrificed to make room for the other victim Olympic winners who might be gay or have a peg leg or who are blind and or deaf. Y'all, this obsession with representation, it's seeping into everything. This is exhausting. Who can keep up with this? We've seen how DEI hiring in corporations, how that's led to incompetence. And so the same is happening here in Hollywood. Like, you can't force art. You cannot manufacture great performances, right? By having this rainbow coalition of kumbaya representatives from all these different intersectionality groups. You cannot expect audiences to keep watching movies that prioritize equality over excellence. This is why viewership for the Oscars has been plummeting. Nobody's watching. I didn't even know the Oscars were this week because people are tired of the woke virtue signaling. Can we just get a good movie, please? Like, seriously. And now for me as a Christian, my position is always, yes, we should want fairness and justice, like real justice, biblical justice. And that means rewarding talent, integrity, hard work, and not handing out trophies based on melanin count. Right? Like, God is not a respecter of persons. Acts 10 verse 34 affirms this. And so if the word of God is admonishing us not to be a respecter of persons, then neither should we. Neither should we. Like, when it comes to rewarding excellence in the arts, like, that should be based on your talent and merit alone. Now, the part that I found funny was that there are even some Hollywood insiders that are pushing back on this, right? So, for example, actor Morgan Freeman, he criticized how Black actors are being tokenized rather than truly celebrated. And he said, and I'm paraphrasing, don't call me a Black actor, just call me an actor. Like, Morgan Freeman is that dude. He is an incredible actor. He has had some amazing roles. And never did I look at Morgan Freeman like, oh, that was a great performance by that Black actor. I was just like, Morgan Freeman did the darn thing. And he is right. Why are we so obsessed with labels instead of merit? Right? Someone else who weighed in was the director Antoine Fuqua. And Antoine spoke out saying that the best way to increase Black representation, it isn't through forced quotas, but by simply writing better roles for Black actors. Imagine that. Instead of shoehorning diversity into a film that doesn't need it, how about we create original stories that actually showcase real talent? I don't know. It's such a novel concept, right? But now, in my opinion, if Tyler Perry was worth a darn, he got that big old soundstage right here in the Southwest Atlanta. He is so well positioned to create films that do just that very thing. But he's a man in a dress. So I don't know what we can expect from him. I know he likes exploiting Black actors and actresses. But in terms of getting like good storylines that are just built for that, we get those few and far between. So overall, what is the takeaway? What's the takeaway? The takeaway is that the Oscars are no longer about the best in film. No, they are about the most diverse in film. And that's a problem. It's a problem because when representation becomes more important than skill, we all lose. Nobody wins. Now, it's not that Hollywood has any credibility left, but by implementing this, Hollywood is completely gone. They're just gone off the rails, and Black actors lose respect. Audiences will lose interest. This is going to backfire. I promise you. Mark my words how this is going to backfire. But biblically speaking, we know that God values excellence, dear ones. We have Colossians 3 verse 23 that tells us, whatever you do, work heartily as for the Lord and not for men. So in essence, that means that we should be striving for actual greatness and not just demanding a seat at the table because we think we are owed one. The standard should be talent, not tokenism. So that you can be like, see how diverse we are? Yeah, but it was artificial and it was contrived. But my question is, what do you guys think? Do you think that the Oscars should focus on talent? Or do you think this makes perfect sense for there to be diversity quotas so that everyone can feel like they have added something of value to the final project? Whichever side of this argument you land on, you already know what I think, but I'm curious to know what you guys think. Leave me a comment in the box below. And until next time, you guys, I'm April Chapman. Grace and peace.